Hello, lovely people. It's Nicola back in the Stitches and Slapdashery sewing room. My sewing machine's seen quite a lot of action this week. I have made quite a few more hats. I feel like this vlog is going to be a little bit samey compared to the last one because it was basically a week of sewing hats and crocheting granny squares. I'd prefer to have a bit more fresh content for you, but well, I do have one new thing to talk about, and I'll show you that in a bit. So, since we last spoke, let me see, I think it was last weekend that I was basically making the last vlog, so I won't have talked to you about how my new job started out. So, I got a new job as a caregiver, in-home caregiver, so that if people are unwell or if they are infirm or maybe getting a little forgetful, they can have people come in to help them with a bit of cooking and cleaning and care and getting washed and remembering to take their medications and that sort of thing. And so on Tuesday, I had the email telling me I needed to do my online training. And so I did that. That took me about 2.5 to 3 hours. And then on Thursday, I did a full day course in the office, in their training room, with one other person, although she had a head start because she's already been working in another city in BC. I live in Canada, by the way. And she has already been a caregiver for a few months now. So she's just moved to town, and so she was really just getting a refresher. So it was an interesting day. We had lots of different modules, and the main important thing, obviously, is what you are and are not allowed to do. I'm not a nurse. I'm not even a professional qualified care aide. I'm just a me, and someone who's willing to help people to get themselves bathed or dressed, or make sure they've got some food in the fridge, maybe go shopping for them, that sort of thing. It's just important daily stuff. That was a good day. The afternoon part involved learning how to sponge bath or bed bath a mannequin, which, you know, was a bit weird at first, but I kind of got into it when I had to do it myself. But it was an anatomically correct mannequin, and it was set up as a female, but there was a detachable part, which was the male genitalia. So when the woman was demonstrating that part, she just left it detached, so it looked very odd, but they didn't actually attach it to the mannequin. But, you know, we got the idea. It's an important thing anyway. Things that you wouldn't think of, you know, like making sure, for a start, making sure we're not lifting the person and doing our back in when we're trying to move them around to get them clean. That's important. And also making sure that the person is as comfortable as possible, not just physically comfortable, not getting cold, but also emotionally comfortable and not getting too embarrassed about the fact that someone's washing all their bits. It's going to be a learning curve when I have to do that for reals, but I think it'll be fine. I think it's something you just have to keep a sense of humor about and just be practical about and get on with it, right? On Saturday morning, which was yesterday, I did a couple of hours at a lady's house. I was just there so that I could see how the caregiver she already had there interacted with her and what sort of things she had to do for her. So it was just a shadowing thing, just for 2 hours, just to give me an idea of how things are done. It'd be nice to do a few more of those, really, but I am going to be starting my first client tomorrow on my own. And hopefully this client and I will hit it off, have a good relationship together, because there's a good chance we might be spending quite a bit of time together. I'm hoping it all works out. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about for work right now, because I've been getting a little stressed out about it in the back of my head. There's a name for Sunday when you're worrying about Monday. Smonday. Smonday is when on the Sunday and you have work the next day, you start thinking about the work the next day. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, on to funner things. Totally a word. I did the market this morning. I did do a little shorts to YouTube of my market stall. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit each week. I'm not setting it up exactly the same. And in fact, I did leave a few things off the table because they're just some of the one-off things that haven't sold so far. I've been doing this market for about 8 weeks now, I think. And there's a few items that haven't sold, and I thought, just going to leave those off because the table is pretty full and I want to focus at the moment on the bucket hats and some of the things that I have multiples of. And so, yeah, I just tossed them back in the bag. Didn't bother putting them out. My bucket hats, I sold another one today. I sold 3 last week and I sold 1 more today. In the week, I think I sewed 6 more. Making 3 in a day is pretty doable. I've streamlined the process a little bit. I don't have to look at my instructions anymore, at least. And they've worked out pretty well. So I'll show you the ones that I haven't sold yet, because some of them are new since last week. And I can't remember which ones. So let's see, we'll go from small to large. So this small one, I think you may have seen before. It's the one with the pretty blue lining. That's a child size one. Now, I'm not sure what size child this is, and I am considering either taking the pattern for the bucket hat from Sweet Red Poppy and maybe photocopying it at like 90% or something, because I mentioned before, it printed out a little too large. That 1-inch square that's supposed to be a 1-inch square when you print it out came out a bit big. And it could be because I was printing it off my phone. I'm not saying that's a fault of the pattern. It's probably because I'm printing off my phone and I didn't bother tweaking it or fiddling with it or anything to see if I could get it to come out right. But this is the smallest size I have. And I can't help thinking it would be nice to have a smaller size yet. That maybe fits a 1 or 2-year-old. So that's one of the small ones. And then this one has this fun frog print in. I really love this print. It's just so cute. And I think you may have seen that one before. So those are the only 2 small hats I have now. I took 3 with me today. The one that sold was the orangey one, made from the jeans that I dyed with Rit, Coral Rit. And I kind of wanted a hat made out of that for myself, but I decided to do a child's hat with it. And a lady bought it. She's bought it for a child. I don't know how old the child was, but she got it anyway, even though she wasn't sure if it would fit. I mean, kids grow, right? It's going to fit sometime. So hopefully she will be happy with it. Okay, so moving on to the medium ones, I've got this one still, and this is the robin fabric. which again, you may have seen already. I promise you there's some new ones. There are some new ones. This one, I think, is new since the last time. This one has fun pink writing, pink French writing, and this one is also medium, and it's a very, very much masculine one, or just someone who doesn't want a lot of frou-frou or doesn't want something that's overtly denim. That pair of pants was great because it was so big. And I think that's the second hat I made out of that one, that pair of pants. So I really like that one. No, actually, I think that was the first one because that's got the waistband button on it. I think I've shown you that one before. But I have another one that I made out of that. All right, so moving on to the large hats. This is the one I made, the second one I made out of that pair of pants. That's right. And just put, again, I'm using either a strip of the denim from a belt loop or from the bottom hem to just add a little extra. That one's just got a rather boring chevron lining. I thought you've got to have some that are not girly, right? You really do. I'll leave the best for last. So we'll leave this one for now, and we'll leave this one for now. And we'll leave that one because I know I haven't shown you that one. So what else have I got? Let me see. All right, this one is pretty basic, but it's got a very pretty lining. Got just pink in the crown and then that bicycle fabric. When I put them on my table at the market, I tried to flip up the brim so people could see what the lining was without poking away at them. So I do like that fabric. I really like it. And I used a pale pink thread on that so that you could see it around the rim. And then this one, I think you may have seen this one before. It's got the turquoise lining. This is another one that could be for a man or a woman because it's made of a pair of jeans or twill pants that were tan, I guess you'd call that. I didn't. The only thing that annoys me about this hat is that I did not center this. I had a little tiny bump where I top stitched. When you turn them right side out and then top stitch around, sometimes, because the gap is on the right side, and sometimes it gets a bit stretched out, or it just didn't fit just right, and there gets to be a little pucker, and so that's usually where I'll end up putting my little belt loop or whatever on. But I really should have, I think, centered it better. Either, I don't know, because I always think of the seams as the side. So if you wore that at the front, it would be kind of off, or if you had it at the back, it would be kind of off. But what I really love about this is the fabric. This was a very unusual panel. It was a quilt cotton, and it was a panel which had different sections on it. There were hermit crabs, seagulls, a fishing boat. So this boat here, I managed to get that lined up nicely on the brim. And there's some birds on the other side. But it was almost like a watercolor painting of beach scenes. So there was one part of the panel that had beach umbrellas on. There was the hermit crab and the sandcastle on another part. And I think maybe an octopus or something. And it looked like it had been quilted. So it was almost like a watercolor painting of a beach quilt that was printed onto cotton. Weird, eh? I don't know. Anyway, I really, really love the soft colors in that. And now we're going to go from soft colours to garish colours, because just wait till you see these. I'm going to save the best for last. So if you've watched any of my vlogs where I have been sitting upstairs with my wacky quilt behind me on the wall of the living room, it's full of crazy stuff like Pink Panther, weird cats sort of doing cartwheels, Scooby-Doo, and things that look like VW bugs and campers and things like that. It's supposed to be this sort of retro looking wacky thing. And I did it in a uneven log cabin style. Oh man, excuse me, I need to wet my whistle. Do people even say that anymore? Wet my whistle. Okay, so I had a little scrap of it left. So I had enough to, let me show you the outside first. I had enough to cut a piece out to make a panel. And what I did is I attached this to this pattern piece before even constructing it. And then there was a little something weird on the top here, which looked like it might have been a little spot of something that didn't want to come off. So I just sewed flour over it. And then when I did my top stitching on this, and I used lime green thread. And then when I had top stitched it, I had quite a bump here actually. There was obviously quite a bit of stretching had happened here when I turned it through. And so I ended up cutting a little piece of the rainbowy strip, which was part of you can see that there's a rainbowy strip as part of the design. And so I cut a little piece and sewed it so that it would be completely attached, not as a loop or anything. And then I just sewed it over that seam there and over the bump. Good save. And this is what the inside looks like. All of this fabric is pretty much used up now. As you can see, it is so fun. It has wacky scooters, wacky camper vans, wacky cars, wacky everything, really. It's just so me. I love it. And so I made that in adult size. Maybe I should have made it in a kid's size. I don't know, but it's a one-off because, as I say, that fabric's mostly gone now and I can't get any more. But yeah, so fun. And then my favorite one. This one is made from a Hello Kitty panel. I should see if I can find the other one. I have two panels like this. Hold on. Okay, I just found a scrap of that watercolory fabric that I used on that last hat. And look, it's a hermit crab. Isn't that funny? They just look really odd, I think. And that's why I cut around them and I didn't want to put them in the actual hat because they do look a bit weird. But a lot of that panel was kind of nice. So here's the other panel. I bought two of these. I think what happened is this Hello Kitty panel went in the bargain center at work. And I just bought the last two panels. Either that, or I think I might have bought one earlier on, and then when it went in the bargain center, I bought the last one. Can't remember for sure now. It was a long time ago. So this has been in the stash for a while. So this is the full panel. It is bright. So here's the neon pink border. There's Hello Kitty in big letters. And then you've got hearts and flowers. And then you've got Hello Kitty's face. And I just love Hello Kitty. So I had to fussy cut some pieces out of that fabric to make the lining for this hat. I've been wanting to use this little pocket for some time, and I couldn't really sew it down fully at the top because the rivets are still in it, but I think it's okay. I cut this out of the Hello Kitty panel and sewed it on, and then sewed around. I used neon pink thread. Oh, this was so fun to make. And then I cut a couple more flowers out and sewed them on the other side. Actually, if you saw one of my shorts, you will have seen this one, but not in its full glory. You will have only seen it briefly. And I also used a light denim and a dark denim rather than using the same pair of jeans or trying to match it or get it close. And look at the inside. It is psychedelic. So we've got the hello, we've got the kitty, we've got some of the heart in there, we've got a shooting star in there. There was something a little weird going on with the print here, and so I just made sure I sewed my label over it. But yeah, oh, it was just so fun. And I did initially make this with myself in mind because I thought, I'm just going to make it as wacky and bright and silly as I can because it's for me. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe I should just put it on the table and see if it sells. It didn't sell today. Doesn't mean it won't sell next time. It certainly is hot enough right now. I think it got to at least 32 degrees today. It felt hotter than last week, even though it was about the same. And maybe it was that hot chocolate I bought from the coffee guy over at the edge of the park. He probably only sold one hot chocolate today, and that was to me. I said, "How are your cold coffees selling?" He's doing iced coffee in cans. He said, "They're selling like hotcakes." Funny. He's a really nice guy, actually. Very nice guy. So yeah, setting up was okay because we're setting up at like between 8 and 9 in the morning is when I'm setting up, and it's not too hot at that time. But then we're taking down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's quite physical. And the worst part is when you've packed all your stuff away and you have to get it out from under the tent so you can collapse the tent. As soon as that roof comes off, you're in the sunshine and you're like, oh, it's so hot. And you have to carry all your stuff over to the curb at the edge of the park and go and get your car. Sometimes you have to wait because there's a lot of vendors. There's, I don't know, 60 vendors? I'm not sure exactly. And maybe 12 parking spots. So you have to basically queue for parking, queue for getting your car to go in the space to load it up and get away. So it's a hot wait sometimes. And I had the sense to bring my swimsuit today. So I brought a swimsuit, beach towel, and a pair of sandals because I knew that if I could find a parking spot, as soon as I left the market, I was going to drive along the beachfront, find a parking spot. It's just a really lovely pebbly beach there. It shelves, gets deep fast. It's cool, it's clear, it's clean, and I love it. It's my favorite place to swim ever. And so I sort of had to do a sort of shimmy into my swimsuit at the side of the road. You know, I had my driver's side car door open and had to kind of get the swimsuit on without flashing anybody as they're driving or walking by. I managed it and went in and had the most blissful dip. Because at that point, my car was 38 when I got into it. Well, the inside was probably hotter than that. My car was registering 38 degrees in the parking lot on the outside when I got into it. So it was probably more like 48 when I got into it on the inside. And so I really, really needed that swim today because I was starting to feel a little overheated, shall we say. And it felt really, really good to go in the lake. And then I just wrapped my towel around me to drive home. And then I had a shower as well. So double cooling off, which I really needed. Let's just talk about Harry Styles for a minute. That was a good segue, wasn't it? Okay, we're going to talk about Harry Styles. I assume you know who Harry Styles is. I mean, I know who he is. I know he's got a famous patchwork cardigan that lots of people like to copy. Because let's face it, it's crochet or knitting. I think it's crochet mostly. And so if it's yarn, I've probably heard about it. So I know Harry Styles is a singer, British singer, and I know he has a famous cardigan. Apart from that, I couldn't tell you what his music sounds like or anything. No idea what any of his songs are. Not my era, really, for young male singers. That it took me years to figure out who Ed Sheeran was, for crying out loud. I used to listen to his music on the radio and not know who it was singing, because on the radio they don't do what they used to do. Way back when I was getting interested in music in my teens, they would play a record, and they would say that was so and so singing this, and they'd give you the name of the singer or band, and they'd give you the title of the song, which was great because if you wanted to go out and buy it, you knew who it was. They don't do that anymore. Sometimes they just do like 30 minutes of solid music, and they're like, well, I like that song, but I have no idea who it is. So, yeah. So I may have heard Harry Styles sing. I have no idea. But this is leading up to the fact that one of the other vendors at the market had been given this crochet kit by a friend of hers. And it must have been a while ago, because she said this crochet kit is well traveled. It's been all over with her. She's been on like half a dozen holidays and taken it with her in the hope that she'd get it done. But she hadn't. And the thing is, for some reason, I don't know why, but this friend had given it to her, asking her to crochet this amigurumi character. And she doesn't even crochet. I guess she was hoping to learn at the same time as making this thing. And I'm like, it's a pretty complicated little project for someone who's just learning and doing their first ever amigurumi. So I'll show you what it looks like. This is him. Apparently he has a butterfly tattoo on his chest. Who knew? And the funny thing, I love Ravelry, of course. So as soon as she mentioned it to me last week, and she said, would you consider looking at this Harry Styles pattern and maybe crocheting it up for me? She said, I'll pay you. And I said, oh, has he got the famous cardigan on? I thought maybe the little amigurumi was wearing a patchwork cardigan. No, apparently not. But she told me it had a butterfly on the chest. So I went to Ravelry and I looked up Harry Styles, and I found this exact thing, which was good because it meant that I was prepared when she gave me the kit this week and said, so I don't know how many hours you think it's going to take or how much you want for it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really sure how long it's going to take. It always takes longer than you think, right? But there's some fiddly bits in there, but it's nothing I haven't done before, I'm sure. And you get the whole kit. You get yarn and hook, and you get the safety eyes, and even the little bit of stuffing that you need. So I gave her a figure. She was happy to pay it. She's already paid me up front. So I'm going to apply myself and hopefully get that done this week. I'm looking forward to having a different thing to work on, because I haven't had particularly interesting projects lately, have I? It's all been a little bit unexciting. So I think Harry Styles is going to be a bit more exciting than what I've been doing lately. So this is the project bag I took to the market today with my crochet in. So I know I showed you this pile that I made with the hot stuff all in one granny square. So the frigid granny squares, the pile has grown, honest. 12. Ooh. So if I have 12 of those, that means I've only got 2 or 3 more to make of those out of what's left there. Looking a little messy, but I can't avoid that right now. I haven't woven any ends in, so what I'll do is I'll finish making the 14 or 15 squares out of the frigid colorway. I'll weave in all my ends. If you've got any really bright ideas of what I can make with these, I have this color, as you know, and I have this color. This is lovely. This is me to a T. And then my other 2 colorways are the amethyst and the pink punch. So I've got blues, reds, pinks, and purples. And I will have, at the very least, or approximately, say I get 15. They tell you 14. I'm wondering if they tell you 14 so that you've got some yarn left for sewing up at the end. I should keep that in mind. Actually, no, I've got 2 balls of the soft white solid super saver. I don't have to save any for seaming. So in theory, I will have 60 squares once I've finished these 4 skeins. 60 squares, about 6 inches. I think they're about 6 inches, something like that. 60 squares. It wouldn't make a very big blanket, would it? But I'm thinking maybe I should make some sort of wacky long vest with them or something. I like that idea. I need to give this more thought. I mean, this yarn, it's so easy just to work your way through it and make all the granny squares and think about it later. But I'm not averse to making some smaller projects or one big one. I don't care if they don't go together perfectly. But yeah, let me go grab that soft white. I said to you the last time, didn't I, about the fact that this one was more pink on the edge. Hang on. So if you see, this is the Super Saver soft white that I got to go with these in case I needed a solid for whatever reason. Say I make a vest and I need to have some sort of neck shaping or ribbing or edging or something. I got this for that, 2 balls of this. So this one, it actually goes pretty well. But this one, look how pink that is. Really pink. I think that's a bit weird. This one looks fine. The soft white actually looks white. And on the purpley one, yeah. On the purpley one, it's looking a bit more lavender than soft white. Whatevs. If you think about it when you get to the end of this video, leave me a comment. Maybe give me some idea for granny squares. I already have a granny square coat. I already have a granny square pants. But if you can think of something else, pattern suggestions or just ideas, because I can figure it out from there, let me know. So that's about it for today, I think. I'll leave a link for the Harry Styles kit under the video. It'll be a Ravelry link because I found it there. I'm not sure exactly where it's available from to buy. It may not even be available anymore. I don't know how long this kit has been around. This friend of mine at the market, the other vendor, has obviously hung on to it for quite some time. So, and of course, who knows how long her friend had it before that. But I just wanted to chat to you tonight and update you on what's been going on. and hopefully I don't look too much of a wreck, because I was very hot today, and I was splashing myself at the splash park again. And I was swimming, and I was showering, and yeah. And now I'm going to go out and get all hot and sweaty again, having a walk at 8 o'clock. What a glutton for punishment. So now that I am working again, I'm hoping to maintain a decent video publishing frequency at the very least once a week. I know I've been managing a couple a week in some weeks because I've had so much spare time, but that's probably not going to be doable from now on. But I'll do my best, because I really enjoy chatting with you and showing you what I'm making. Well, thanks very much for being here again. I really appreciate you watching and liking and commenting and all that good stuff. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye.